The titanium alloy hull of the research vessel, Starweaver, groaned as it entered Earth's atmosphere at the wrong angle. Inside the cockpit, Chief Researcher Zira Vex of the Andromean Science Council fought with failing controls, her four-fingered hands dancing across holographic displays that flickered and died one by one. System failure imminent, the ship's AI announced with disturbing serenity. Impact in 45 seconds. Zira's phosphorescent eyes narrowed as she spotted a clearing in the dense forest below. It wasn't much, but it was her only chance. The mountains of this remote region, somewhere called Montana, according to her rapidly failing navigation system, loomed dark against the setting sun. Rerouting auxiliary power to landing thrusters, she muttered, more to keep herself focused than for any practical purpose. The ship's eye was already offline, its last warning still echoing in her mind. The impact came faster than expected. Metal screamed against Earth, and darkness claimed her. When consciousness returned, it came with pain and the acrid smell of burning circuitry. Zira blinked her secondary eyelids, trying to clear her vision. The cockpit had partially collapsed, trapping her left leg beneath a crushed console. Through the shattered viewscreen, she could see Earth's moon rising over the mountains, impossibly large and bright. A sound from outside made her freeze. Footsteps, heavy ones, moving with purpose through the debris field her crash had created. Zira's heart rate accelerated. She wasn't supposed to be here. Earth was strictly off-limits for non-authorized contact. The research data she carried was too valuable to risk capture. "Hello," a deep voice called out. "Anyone alive in there?" Human. Male. Speaking English, one of their dominant languages. Zira remained silent, weighing her options. Her universal translator was working, at least, but revealing herself to a human could violate dozens of interstellar protocols. The footsteps came closer. A beam of light cut through the smoke, illuminating the cockpit. "I can see you in there," the voice said, softer now. "You're trapped. Let me help." The light lowered, and Zira got her first look at a human up close. He was tall, even by human standards, with dark skin and close-cropped gray hair. He wore what appeared to be winter weather gear and carried various tools attached to his belt. "I'm Dr. Marcus Harrison," he said, holding his hands up in a universal gesture of peace. "I'm a researcher at the Mount Wilson Observatory Outpost. Your crash triggered our sensors." He paused, studying her with remarkable composure for someone making first contact. "You're hurt." Zira made her decision. Protocol meant nothing if she blew it out in her cockpit. The console, she managed in carefully practiced English. "My leg is trapped." Marcus nodded, already assessing the situation. "I can help, but we need to move quickly. Your ship's power core is destabilizing." He pulled out a device, primitive by her standards, but functional, and scanned the wreckage. "We have maybe 10 minutes before it goes critical." Working together, they'd managed to lift the console enough for Zira to pull free. Her leg was badly injured, but her species-enhanced healing would take care of that, if she survived the next few minutes. "Can you walk?" Marcus asked, offering support. "I believe so," Zira replied, testing her weight. "But my research, I cannot leave it." Marcus glanced at his scanner again. 8 minutes. "Where is it?" Zira pointed to a sealed compartment behind her seat. Marcus worked quickly, using a pry bar to force the compartment open. Inside was a small crystalline cube that pulsed with soft blue light. "Whatever it is, it's giving off some interesting readings," Marcus observed, carefully placing it in his pack. "Now let's go." They had made it perhaps 50 meters from the ship when Zira's legs gave out. Without hesitation, Marcus lifted her, displaying the impressive strength humans were known for. They had just reached the tree line when the ship's core finally breached. The explosion lit up the night sky, sending a shockwave that knocked them both to the ground. Marcus shielded Zira with his body as debris rained down around them. When the dust settled, Marcus helped her sit up against a tree. "The observatory is about 2 kilometers from here," he said, checking her injuries with gentle efficiency. "It's not much, but it's warm, and I have medical supplies." "Why are you helping me?" Zira asked, her translator struggling with the complex emotions behind the question. Marcus smiled, and for the first time, Zira understood why humans had survived and thrived despite their technological limitations. There was something in that smile, something that spoke of curiosity, compassion, and an unshakable determination. "Because you need help," he said simply, "and because I've spent my entire life looking up at the stars, hoping to meet someone like you. Now let's get you somewhere safe, and you can tell me what brings an alien scientist to crash land in my backyard." Zira nodded, realizing that her mission and her life had just taken an unexpected turn. As Marcus helped her to her feet, she caught a glimpse of movement in the darkness beyond the burning wreckage. Something was out there, watching. Whether it was Earth's wildlife or something more sinister, she couldn't tell. But for now, she had found an ally in this human scientist, and something told her she would need him in the days to come. The Mount Wilson Observatory outpost was smaller than Zira had expected. A cluster of rugged buildings nestled against the mountainside, their metal walls gleaming under the moonlight. Marcus helped her through the main entrance, the automatic doors hissing shut behind them against the cold mountain air. "Welcome to my home away from home," Marcus said, leading her to what appeared to be a medical bay. The equipment was primitive by Andromean standards, but functional. "It's not much, but it's private. The nearest town is 50 kilometers away, and my research team isn't due back for another 2 weeks." Zira settled onto an examination table, her injured leg throbbing. "You live here alone." "Usually with a team of 4 others," Marcus explained, gathering supplies. "But they're at a conference in Seattle. Lucky timing, I suppose. Fewer people to ask questions about my unexpected guest." As Marcus treated her injuries, Zira studied him with growing fascination. His movements were precise, his focus absolute. Here was a human in his element. A scientist first, even in the face of extraordinary circumstances. "Your medical knowledge is impressive," she observed as he applied a regenerative bandage to her leg. Marcus chuckled. "I've patched up my share of injuries over the years. When you're this isolated, you learn to be a jack of all trades." He paused, meeting her gaze. "Though I admit, this is my first time treating an alien, and this is my first time being treated by a human," Zira replied, attempting humor. Her translator must have succeeded because Marcus smiled. Once her injuries were stabilized, Marcus brought them both to the observatory's main research room. Star charts covered the walls, and multiple screens displayed various astronomical data. The crystalline cube from her ship sat on a central workstation, its soft blue pulsing the only indication that it still functioned. "Your research," Marcus said, gesturing to the cube. "I'm assuming it's important enough to risk an unauthorized landing on Earth." Zira hesitated. Sharing advanced scientific knowledge with pre-approval species was strictly forbidden. But after Marcus had saved her life, she owed him some explanation. "It contains data about a discovery that could change everything," she said carefully. "A way to stabilize quantum tunnels for instantaneous travel between star systems." Marcus's eyes widened. "You're talking about controlled wormhole technology. You understand the implications. It would revolutionize space travel," Marcus said, studying the cube with new appreciation. "But why bring it to Earth?" Before Zira could answer, a distant alarm began to sound. Marcus moved to a monitoring station, his expression darkening. "We have movement in the forest," he reported, bringing up thermal imaging on the main screen. "Multiple signatures, too large to be local wildlife." Zira felt her heart skip a beat. "They followed me." "Who followed you?" "The Nexus Corporation. They've been trying to steal this research for months." Zira moved to stand beside him, watching the heat signatures move through the trees. "They must have tracked my ship's descent." Marcus's face set in a determined line. "Well, they're about to learn that breaking into my observatory isn't as easy as they might think." He moved to a control panel, entering a series of commands. This facility has some security features that aren't exactly standard issue. Metal shutters began sliding down over the windows and doors. Hidden panels in the walls opened to reveal defensive systems that looked far more advanced than typical Earth technology. Zira stared at him. This isn't a normal observatory. Let's just say some of us on Earth have been preparing for the possibility of extraterrestrial contact, both friendly and otherwise. Marcus activated another system, and holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing every approach to the building. I'm part of a private research group that's been quietly advancing Earth's defensive capabilities. You've been hiding your progress, Zira realized. The Andromean Council believes Earth is decades away from this level of technology. Sometimes it's advantageous to be underestimated, Marcus replied with a grim smile. Now, let's see what we're dealing with. The thermal signatures were getting closer, moving with military precision through the underbrush. Zira counted at least 8 distinct forms, all armed with what appeared to be energy weapons. Nexus mercenaries, she confirmed. They're equipped with mural disruptors and phase shields. Marcus nodded, seemingly unfazed by the advanced weaponry. Then we'll need to be creative. He moved to a storage locker, retrieving what looked like modified Earth firearms. These electromagnetic pulse rifles should disrupt their shields, and I have a few other surprises ready. As they prepared for the inevitable confrontation, Zira found herself reassessing everything she thought she knew about humans. Their official technological classification clearly needed updating. Marcus, she said, checking the power levels on the weapon he'd given her. If we survive this, I believe my report to the Council will be quite different from what I expected. He grinned, the expression somehow both fierce and friendly. First, let's focus on surviving. Then we can worry about rewriting your species' assessment of humanity. The first explosion against the observatory's outer defenses shook the building, and both human and alien moved into defensive positions. As the night deepened around them, Zira realized that her crash landing might have accidentally initiated something far more significant than her original mission. First contact with a humanity that was far more capable than anyone had suspected. The first wave of Nexus mercenaries hit the observatory's defenses like a storm breaking against rocks. Energy weapons flared in the darkness, met by the precise response of Marcus's security systems. They're testing our capabilities, Zira observed, watching the tactical display. These aren't ordinary mercenaries. They're using Cravian military formations. Marcus adjusted the defense grid, redirecting power to vulnerable sectors. Tell me about them. Knowledge is power. Nexus Corporation appears legitimate on the surface, a research and development company. But they're really glorified tech pirates, stealing innovations from across the galaxy. Zira's hands moved across the control panel, helping to coordinate their defense. They're well-funded and ruthless. A massive explosion rocked the western wall, and alarms blared throughout the facility. Marcus checked the damage readout, his expression grim. They're using some kind of focused plasma charges, he reported. Our shields won't hold against many more of those. We need to move, Zira said, gathering her research cube. This facility is too exposed. Marcus nodded, already moving toward a hidden panel in the floor. I was hoping to avoid this, but we have an escape tunnel. Goes deep into the mountain, connects to an old mining system. He pulled the panel open, revealing a steep stairway. Ladies first. They descended into darkness just as another explosion shook the observatory above. Marcus sealed the tunnel entrance behind them, triggering what sounded like a series of controlled demolitions. Collapsing the main facility, he explained at Zira's questioning look. Let them waste time searching the rubble. The tunnel was narrow but well-maintained, with emergency lighting that activated at their presence. They moved as quickly as Zira's injured leg would allow, the sounds of battle growing distant above them. You're very prepared for someone who supposedly runs a simple observatory, Zira noted as they walked. Marcus's laugh echoed off the tunnel walls. Let's just say Earth has learned to be cautious. We've had our share of unfriendly visitors over the years, ones that never made it into official records. They reached a junction in the tunnel system, and Marcus consulted a holographic map projected from a device on his wrist. 3 kilometers to the secondary facility, he said. But we should assume they have ways to track us. Your research cube, does it emit any energy signature they could detect? Zira examined the cube. Yes, but I can modify its containment field to mask the output. I'll need tools. There's a maintenance station ahead. We can. He stopped abruptly, raising his hand for silence. In the distance, they could hear the distinct sound of boots on metal. Someone else had found the tunnel system. Run, Marcus whispered, or fight. Zira checked her weapon. Neither. I have a better idea. She quickly explained her plan, and Marcus's eyes lit up with appreciation. Together, they set to work, using the tunnel's own systems against their pursuers in a way only a human's creative improvisation and an Andromean's technical knowledge could manage. When the first group of mercenaries rounded the corner, they never knew what hit them. Less than Antartifact identifier equals fee story part 4, type equals text / markdown title equals trust, and sacrifice greater than. The secondary facility turned out to be a converted natural cave system, filled with even more advanced technology than the observatory had contained. As they secured the entrance, Zira finally asked the question that had been nagging at her. You're not just a researcher, are you? Marcus engaged the facility's cloaking systems before answering. I'm part of an organization called the Stellar Defense Initiative. We're a private group of scientists and military specialists who've been preparing Earth for broader contact with the galaxy. Without the knowledge of the Andromean Council. Your council isn't the only power in the galaxy, Zira, and not everyone plays by official rules. He helped her to a workstation where she could begin modifying her research cube. Earth learned that lesson the hard way. As Zira worked, she shared more about her own mission. The quantum tunnel research wasn't just about faster travel. It could revolutionize communication, energy distribution, even planetary defense. Which is why Nexus wants it so badly, she concluded. With this technology, they could become the most powerful corporation in known space. Marcus was about to respond when the facility's sensors detected new movement, not from the tunnels, but from above. They'd brought ships, he said, studying the readings. Heavy assault class. They're done playing nice. Zira's heart sank. Those ships could level this entire mountain. Then it's time for my last surprise. Marcus moved to a secured console and entered a complex series of commands. Deep within the mountain, something massive began to power up. Remember how I said Earth has had unfriendly visitors? Marcus's eyes gleamed with pride. We kept some of their toys, modified them, improved them. The cave wall split open to reveal a hangar containing a ship unlike anything Zira had ever seen. A hybrid of human ingenuity and salvaged alien technology. Welcome to the Phoenix Project. Less than Antartifact identifier equals fee story part 5 typed equals text / markdown title equals a new alliance greater than. The hybrid ship, which Marcus called simply Phoenix, rose through a concealed opening in the mountainside, its advanced stealth systems rendering it virtually invisible to conventional sensors. Your people are full of surprises, Zira said from the co-pilot's seat, admiring the seamless integration of multiple technological disciplines. We've had good teachers, Marcus replied, his hands dancing across the neural interface controls. Every species that's tried to conquer or exploit Earth has left behind pieces of their technology. We learned from each attempt. Above them, the Nexus ships were beginning their attack run on the mountain. Their sensors, advanced as they were, couldn't detect the Phoenix rising behind them. Ready to show them why it's a bad idea to threaten my observatory? Marcus asked with a grin. What followed was a display of combat flying that left even Zira impressed. The Phoenix moved like no ship she'd ever seen, combining the raw power of alien technology with the unpredictable creativity of human design. Marcus disabled the first Nexus ship with a precisely targeted electromagnetic pulse, while the second fell to a barrage of quantum-phase torpedoes, weapons that shouldn't have been possible with Earth's level of technology. As the last Nexus ship retreated into orbit, Zira made a decision. She activated her emergency beacon, not the standard distress signal, but a direct line to the Andromean High Command. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked, monitoring the disabled ships. "Changing the future," she replied. "Earth has proven itself more than ready for official contact, and I believe both our peoples would benefit from an alliance." Within hours, Andromean peacekeeping ships arrived to arrest the Nexus forces, but they weren't alone. Earth's own hidden fleet decloaked in high orbit, revealing that humanity had advanced far beyond what anyone had suspected. As representatives from both sides met to begin diplomatic discussions, Marcus and Zira watched from the Phoenix of observation deck. "You know," Marcus said thoughtfully, "when I woke up this morning, I didn't expect to help initiate official first contact between Earth and the Andromean Council." Zira smiled, her translator perfectly conveying her amusement. "And I didn't expect to crash land into the care of one of humanity's most advanced defenders. Perhaps the universe has a sense of humor. Or perhaps," Marcus suggested, "it simply knows when it's time for change. Your quantum tunnel research, combined with our hybrid technology, we could revolutionize space travel together." As they watched the ships of two civilizations moving in harmony above Earth, Zira realized that her crash landing had achieved something far more valuable than her original mission. It had forged a connection between species that would reshape the galaxy. "Two unexpected meetings," she said, attempting the human tradition of a toast with the emergency rations they'd brought aboard. Marcus laughed, raising his own container. "And to the surprises that await us among the stars." Below them, Earth turned serenely, unaware that its place in the galaxy had just fundamentally changed. But thanks to a chance encounter between a curious human and a dedicated alien researcher, that change would lead not to conflict, but to cooperation. The future, it seemed, would be written together.